This is the Rodney Bull Show, bringing you truth about money they never taught you. Now, here's your host, the man himself, Rodney Bull.
G'day, legends. What's cracking, money stackers? Welcome back to the Rodney Bull Show. Today, we're going to get into something different. We're going to get into crypto. And we haven't gone there yet on this channel, but it's something that people need to know about, as well as the other stuff that I'm trying to share and make everybody aware of and wake people up to the fact of how things function in our world, especially through our financial system. So today's guest is helping long-term crypto holders unlock something that most people don't even realize is possible, making their Bitcoin and Ethereum productive without selling it, which is very important because you want to hang on to that stuff. Brandon Diggs spent 15 years as a professional day trader, grinding through the markets every day before discovering decentralized finance, a way to generate income from assets he already believed in without the constant stress of trading. So today, Brandon serves as head of education at Overseas DeFi, alongside founder Roman Reeder, helping everyday investors turn idle crypto into income-producing assets through a more strategic and conservative approach. And what I like about Brandon's message is this, folks. It's not hype or speculation. It's all bloody meme coins, like if you've heard about them, like Fartcoin and all of that sort of funny things. It's about making assets work harder for you. So if you hold crypto at all, or you want to learn about it and get into it so you can get some as an asset in your life, just what's next, and step beyond and just buy and hold and get your assets working for you. So it's going to be a good one, folks. So let's get into it, eh? Brandon Diggs, welcome to the show, Cobber.
Thanks a lot, Rodney. And to your point, I think these assets are really important. And what we like to do is, first and foremost, we like to invest in these assets. We think that fiat currency is on its way out, or at least it's going to constantly continue to be debased. It does a really poor job of maintaining and holding your wealth and your purchasing power over time. So that's definitely the most important message that I have to give to people out there, that you're looking to invest your capital somewhere where it's going to maintain its purchasing power over time, somewhere where you're going to be able to survive this endless fiat debt-based currency debasement that just keeps going on and on and on in an exponential way. So that's the most important message, I think, is we want to own long-term assets like Bitcoin. I'm a huge fan of the Ethereum ecosystem, so we can get into what that even is. Most people are barely familiar with Bitcoin itself, and we think that's a very powerful narrative. It's the hardest money on earth. We talked a little bit about how you've listened to and read some of Saifedean Ammous's work. I'm definitely a fan, and I definitely believe what he has to say about Bitcoin. It really is the hardest money on earth. But another thing that's happening these days, especially with the advent of AI and the whole agentic economy that's coming, we talked about agents outnumbering humans by something on the order of 80 agents for every one human on this planet. We have this economic system that's coming, and I think Bitcoin will be fantastic for this coming economic system and the transition as we go from TradFi to something else, decentralized finance, or everything is on blockchain rails. I think Bitcoin will do tremendously well. How can it not perform well against these debt-based fiat currencies that are endlessly printed into oblivion? Of course, Bitcoin is going to do well. It might take a little while for that narrative to play out. You might even have to weather some storms like we've been seeing over the last 8 months, where the price just crashes 50, 55, 60%. And we have to deal with all of that. But in terms of the coming financial system, the agentic economy, the sheer number and volume of transactions and financial activity that will be conducted by AI agents rather than humans, it's sort of a very natural fit. It's intrinsic. People just can gather this information by intuition. Of course, AI agents aren't going to be going to their local bank account and settling transactions over the course of 3-day business day hold or anything like that. Agents will of course be using crypto rails. They will be transacting billions of transactions on the blockchain. And so we're very interested in the coming economic system that's coming, where we get a chance to own the rails of that system. So this is going to benefit Bitcoin a little bit, but we're talking about smart contract ecosystems like Ethereum. Solana is another well-known ecosystem. There's a lesser known but very quality bleeding edge technology in blockchain called Sui. We're very interested in owning these layer one blockchain assets because that's where the financial system is going. But either way, when we invest in these assets, there's a waiting period. It takes time. Sometimes it takes years for the cycles to play out, for the narratives to play out, and for these assets to grow in value. It takes a while sometimes for the number to go up, and sometimes the number goes down instead. So what we really specialize with Overseas DeFi is in teaching people how to make these assets productive. We're all human. We all need income. We all have bills to pay. So while you're waiting for these investment theses to play out, you're able to make those assets productive in a way where you're earning daily cash flow for when other people trade. So I'm sure we can get into the details of that, but that's really a crucial part of it. Is in our community, in our business, we're in the DeFi business, and we teach people how to take advantage of these decentralized financial systems. But in our business, we literally get paid to wait. We're holding on to these assets. We believe in them. We think the value is going up long term. Again, how can it not when you're living in a world where they're producing trillions of new units of these fiat currencies year after year? How can these values not go up in dollar terms, in nominal terms? But while you're waiting for that to happen, it's really nice to be able to generate a little side income. Myself, I've been doing this full time since 2021. Quit my job in early 2022, and I've completely supported myself and my family off of decentralized finance and kind of what we do and what we teach. We eat our own cooking around here. I'm teaching clients one-on-one in group settings, also in just our community setting, where I'm teaching them exactly what I'm doing day to day. I'm managing my portfolio. I'm holding on to these assets for the long term. Should have worn my t-shirt that says just hodl it. I'm holding on to these assets for the long term, but I'm also using these crypto assets the way they were designed and meant to be used, which is in decentralized finance. So we can get into the details of that. So looking forward to it.
That's awesome, Brandon. Thanks for sharing that, mate. We might just step back a little bit and just reverse a little bit and slow down a little bit to start with, I think, because there's probably some people that don't know all that much about this subject. So I think we'll just dig into the background of it to start with, I think, and then we'll branch out from there if you can. You spent 15 years as a professional day trader yourself, watching markets every day and chasing every move, mate, which was pretty full-on stuff to be doing. What was it about decentralized finance that made you step back and think this is a better way, as to the traditional system? Because
yeah,
most people, myself included, we only know the traditional finance system because that's what we've grown up in, and this is so new, the DeFi space. So, yeah, can you run with that, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic question because, day trading is they often characterize day trading as a very difficult way to make easy money. And that just resonates with me because back when I was doing a lot of day trading, it took a tremendous amount of time and energy from me on a daily basis, where it was just, it's no kind of life. I would spend every weekday in front of these screens right here, watching a tick chart on the NASDAQ futures market. I was a scalper. I scalped the futures, the NASDAQ futures. Anyway, my point is I would spend hours and hours every day, anywhere from 3 to 6.5 hours a day, literally just planted right here in front of my screens, watching a screen on a chart and making little green and red candles on the chart. It was no kind of life. I mean, it was extremely difficult. It takes a lot of emotional fortitude and control to be a day trader. Anybody who's interested in learning how to day trade, I would, if I care about that person, I would advocate and strongly recommend against it. Because it is just such a huge drain on your time and your life energy. And ironically, so there's a couple of stories here. So I got into Bitcoin back in 2013. I literally bought my first coins for $77 per coin. And I unfortunately had my coins on a centralized exchange called Mt. Gox. That exchange got hacked, and they closed the website down. I had no access to my coins for just over 10 years. So when I finally got some coins back, I took a massive 84% haircut. But at the same time, the price went up a lot. I paid $77 and $100 and $300 for my coins over the months before that exchange went down. Of course, the price was a lot higher when I got my coins back 10 plus years later. So that was a result of what we were talking about with fiat currency and constant debasement. And I went down that rabbit hole back in 2012 and 2013, which is why I originally bought Bitcoin. But between that and 2021, which is when I got into DeFi, it was just the day trading thing. And by the way, I had a regular, working for a company type of job. I've always been an educator in some kind of area of technology. I used to help people with semiconductor equipment, manufacturing equipment used in fabs. And then after that, I was helping people with robotic and automation equipment used in hospital labs. Always teaching people in various formats, teaching technology. And so it was also kind of a massive, really nice fit for me when I did discover DeFi. And I said, this is amazing. There's a lot to learn here. And by the way, I can do this and I can teach people how to do this and we can all make money. And here's the thing is, in day trading, or just swing trading or trading in general, if you're trying to play the stock market and make money, 90 to 95% of the people that try to do that lose money. I myself lost money for years. Took years and years and years for me to become consistently profitable. And even then, I could wipe out 6 months of profits in a single week, a single bad week. Again, if I didn't have that perfect emotional control. We are emotional people. We're humans. We're wired that way, and your emotions can sort of take over and lead to really poor trading decisions. So, just not a fun experience. Very, very difficult. Most people fail. Most people spend hundreds or thousands of dollars trying to learn how to trade. They'll buy books. They'll sign up for live trading rooms. They'll sign up for online educational courses and spend tons of money learning how to trade. And even then, after all of that education, they aren't profitable. They end up losing money. So what I discovered is a couple of things. So ironically, it was a day trader friend of mine, we used to hang out every day trading, that introduced me to DeFi. And when I first found out about DeFi, I realized that it isn't passive income, but you can set up positions in DeFi where you just get paid. Like I could spend a few hours with you and teach you how to create a liquidity position. We have the YouTube channel. People can watch the videos on our channel as well. within a 18-minute video, you can see the exact process. You can set up a liquidity position in DeFi. We can get into the details of it, but the point is you're profitable from the very first moment. There's a learning curve, and we have a business that teaches people how to do decentralized finance. But the beautiful thing is, if you pay us to learn how to do this, you are profitable from day one without question. Now, can the market go down? Of course. Can you lose value? Of course. But you can set up a liquidity position that starts generating cash flow from the very first moment that you open the position. And it's cash flow you're not taking it from other people. That's another thing that resonated with me as a human. In trading, to the extent I'm getting profit from the market, it's because other traders are losing. Literally, I day after day, and that kind of bothered me. It does bother me as a human. It's like day after day, if I've had a good day, it means somebody else had a bad day. Because where did that money come from? It came from other traders. In DeFi, I get paid when other people trade, but it's like this. Imagine you go on Coinbase or Binance or some kind of centralized crypto exchange. If you trade dollars for Bitcoin on an exchange like that, you're going to pay a fee, right? And that fee goes to the company. It goes to Coinbase, it goes to Binance, and they make a really good revenue off of charging a fee for every trade. It's this exact same thing in decentralized finance, but instead of the trading fees going to a company, they go to liquidity providers like me. So the source of my profit, or someone who gets into decentralized finance, the source of profit is you're getting paid to provide a service. You're providing liquidity on a decentralized exchange. By the way, the trading fees to trade crypto on a decentralized exchange, they're literally 99% cheaper than what you would pay on Coinbase. I have a video. It says, copy this portfolio and save 99% on your Coinbase fees. So I'm providing a service as a liquidity provider that allows people to trade crypto and pay 99% lower fees. And then I collect part of the fees as a liquidity provider. So there's risk there, there's a learning curve there, but it sits much better with me as a human that my profits come from providing a real useful service that no one has to lose money, right, for me to be successful. I just need to provide my liquidity and take the risk. There is risk. Again, we can get into the risk and how we can mitigate as well. But I'm providing a legitimate service, a growing business. Decentralized exchanges are better than centralized exchanges, not only for the fee savings, but also, look, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the crypto assets that are out there was designed for self-custody. Now, I learned that lesson the hard way when I had my coins on Mt. Gox and the exchange got hacked and a bunch of coins were stolen and I had to wait 10 and a half years to get a little chunk of my coins back. That I was doing it wrong. If you have your coins sitting on a centralized exchange, they are not your coins. You are not the owner of those coins. And if anything happens to that exchange, you're out of luck. Your coins are gone. And I was lucky to get my coins back after 10 and a half years, and I only got about 16% of my coins back. So I took a big haircut on, unfortunately, the price went up a lot, so it ended up being okay. But if you're providing a service where people actually use crypto the way it's meant to be used, they take custody of their own coins, they fully control and they have full sovereignty over their own assets.
Yep.
That's a bonus right there. And they're getting to save a lot of money on the fees that they pay to do whatever trading they're doing.
Yep. No, for sure. Thanks for clearing that up, mate. That probably covered the next question I was going to ask you in regards to a lot of people think that there are only two ways to approach crypto, and that's buy and hold. If you happen to know anything about crypto, which I think a big portion of the population around the world still don't know anything about it, let alone even know that. So, and talking about a third option, and that's what this third option is that you're talking about, is to actually get them self custody your coins, but then to have them coins working for you. So
Absolutely.
you're providing liquidity for people who do want to trade. And I guess,
Absolutely. Yeah.
ultimately, everything in life is a trade, really. When you look at it, doesn't matter what it is. So, um,
Yeah, when you look at what we do in DeFi, it's like we're there might be a negative connotation with this, but we're like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And what I mean by that is it's probably only around 1% of the world's population that even owns Bitcoin to begin with. Okay. I would say most people that even own crypto, all they own is Bitcoin. Okay. So it's a special breed that goes beyond Bitcoin, and we can talk about those other narratives, and we've talked about it a little bit so far. Uh, so we go beyond Bitcoin. Now, most of the people that own Bitcoin or any other crypto assets, they leave it on the exchange. Something on the order of maybe 5 to 7% of crypto owners actually take custody. So the vast majority of investors leave their coins on a centralized exchange. And then once you have self custody, this is the next 1% is only a fraction of the people that take custody utilize decentralized finance. In other words, they make use of something called a smart contract. We can get into what a smart contract is and how this new financial system works. But I will tell you that the decentralized financial system is tremendously powerful. It's something that very few people are doing on Earth right now. And so the opportunities are immense. And we can talk about some of the yields that we're able to earn in DeFi, some of the advantages that we have in a decentralized financial system, above and beyond the fact that this is self-custody. This is you fully control your assets. You can do with them what you want, when you want to do it. You full control, full sovereignty over your assets, right? That's a good thing in and of itself. But beyond that, all of the tools and capabilities that we have in DeFi, everything starts with self-custody. Yep. So we're a small breed of investors here that own more than Bitcoin, or let's say A, own Bitcoin, B, own something other than Bitcoin, C, actually took custody of those coins on our own self-custody wallet, and D, we take advantage of the decentralized finance system, the DeFi system, to do all sorts of beneficial things within our portfolio. We can talk about kind of the default portfolio structure if you want to get into that next, or whatever you want to transition to with the next question.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's you're clearing a lot of stuff up here for a lot of people. Maybe for some people, it's starting to blow their heads up, but this is stuff that we all need to learn about, because this is the direction that our financial system is heading in, and the old system and the new system are clashing, button heads big time. And I think it's going to take a while to play out myself personally, but I have a lot of faith in the new system, and I believe it will be better for people overall compared to what the old centralized system has done. And I guess it's just people trying to get their heads around the difference between centralized and decentralized. You focus heavily on Bitcoin and Ethereum holders, and that's not the only thing you've spoken about. But why those two specifically? Are they safer? More established? Better for long-term strategies? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say I have two core investment theses. Okay, so one investment thesis is just the idea that our fiat currency system is based on debt, It never ends. It's a perpetual extension, exponential growth of the debt. They can't do anything else but to expand the debt year after year. So the first narrative or the first investment thesis is fiat is trash. It constantly gets debased. It doesn't maintain its purchasing power. So I want to store my wealth and potentially massively grow my wealth by investing in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is obviously the largest crypto asset out there. It's the original crypto asset. It does one thing. You send it. You can send it from one wallet to another. You can send it from one digital blockchain account to a different digital blockchain account. But that in and of itself is tremendously powerful in terms of replacing the sort of the global reserve asset system. A lot of sovereign nations these days, or sovereign wealth funds and things like that, are doing what they can to get away from the US dollar, because they're really starting to see the cracks in the system. And I think that over time, more and more capital will gravitate towards that hard money system where no country or no central bank has control over it. So it's a fair system. Like Saifedean Ammous would say, you can't cheat. Okay, there's all kinds of shenanigans that the banks and the politicians will do with fiat currency. And of course, they'll spend a lot more money than they make. So the debt is perpetual and always growing. But in Bitcoin, no one can cheat. And you said something a moment ago that I want to double click on is more opportunity for all. And that's Bitcoin is a level playing field for all people. No one has an advantage over anyone else because everyone is treated the same within that system. So it really is a much fairer form of money, and I want a piece of that. I want to store my wealth in that, and it's going to do over the long haul. It's going to perform way better than fiat currency. Now, when you look at humans and the propensity to save extra money, like unless you're destitute and in extreme poverty, hopefully you're producing more than you spend, and you're able to have some form of savings. You're able to put away some money for the future. Heaven forbid you save something for your kids to go to college or something like that. So there's a market, there's a total addressable market for global savings, something on the order of $100 trillion. And Bitcoin right now is about 1.3 trillion, right? So there's not an unlimited upside potential for Bitcoin, but there's a very big potential move for Bitcoin where maybe it'll go from 1.3 trillion to 3 trillion, 5 trillion. And so there's an opportunity there for Bitcoin to claim a bigger part of the global savings market. Like I said, about something on the order of 100 trillion. Now, the other part of the other narrative that goes into my other investment thesis is everything else beyond global savings. So what I'm talking about is our global financial system, right? Transactions around the world are being conducted on the traditional financial rails, and that's changing. And so we're headed towards a future. We're already starting to do it. You've heard of tokenization. You've heard of real world assets, RWAs, right? These assets are being tokenized on the blockchain. And so what we're starting to see already, and it's just going to keep accelerating, is this massive migration where at the end point, our total financial system will be on blockchain rails. So all assets will be tokens on the blockchain. I really believe that's the future we're headed towards. Maybe I'm wrong, but everything is indicating that that's already starting to happen. The tokenization of real world assets has grown something on the order of 400% just in the last year. This is happening, right? And so the total addressable market of that, the entire global financial system, is a heck of a lot bigger than 100 trillion. So my other investment thesis, I want a piece of that, because it's almost like the sky is the limit over there. And what makes that even more promising is we're also, at the same time as that we're headed towards this blockchain-based financial system, we are also heading towards an agentic economy. So this is the idea that AI agents will be doing most of the transacting, finance and otherwise, in the future. And it's projected that AI agents will outnumber humans something on the order of 80 to 1. So you have literally billions and billions of new financial actors that are coming on the scene. And where are they going to be executing transactions? Are they going to go to Bank of America down the street? No. All agentic economy will be on blockchain rails. So we have an opportunity to participate and own those rails ahead of that, right? Retail investors were able to front run the institutional adoption of Bitcoin. So people like me bought Bitcoin in 2013, 2014, 2011, even 2015, even 2020, ahead of this, what we've seen in Bitcoin. We've seen ETFs, we've seen digital asset treasury companies like Strategy, and on and on. We've seen governments investing in Bitcoin. And so retail investors were able to front run that massive growth. Once again, retail investors like you and me can front run this massive growth of the, let's call it, the tokenized economy of the future. Or like Raoul Pal would say, this is an opportunity for us to own the rails before this massive growth that's coming. And if you add the agentic economy and billions of economic actors operating and doing transactions on these blockchain rails, it's really just an unlimited opportunity. So that's how I think about investing.
Well, that's two pretty decent theses there, mate. There's a lot involved in it, and like you said, there's a tremendous amount. I've been looking into this stuff for the last few years myself, and I have nowhere near the comprehension of it that you do. So I'm very pleased to have you on here today to help me and my audience try to wrap our heads around this, because it's such an important subject because of where things are going. There's so much to it. I guess. Without trying to double up too much, for someone brand new, how would you explain decentralized finance in the most simplest terms?
I love it. Yeah.
Without all the complicated crypto jargon, mate. Like, how is it different from banks, and what role does self-custody play? I know you've already touched on that, but just so that we can get people to really see this from the most simplest outlook and wrap their heads around it.
Would you mind if I shared my screen?
No, go for gold.
Okay.
Hopefully, play the game.
I'll try that. Okay, there we go. Okay, can you see that all right? This is our YouTube channel here.
Yep. Yeah. Here as.
And as a way of at least partially answering that question, because maybe somebody listened to what we've been saying and they're like, yeah, cool, I want to buy some Bitcoin, and I want to buy some ETH too. ETH is the main. ETH is number 2, right? Bitcoin is the original, then came ETH or Ethereum. And right now there are a multitude of these blockchains on which the future financial system is being built. But Ethereum is the main one. Ethereum is dominating on all the different metrics like stable coins. Ethereum has the most stable coins. Ethereum has the most tokenized real world assets. Ethereum has the most TVL, meaning it has the most amount of money that's actually riding on that blockchain. So somebody could be compelled today watching this and say, yeah, I'd like to own some Bitcoin and some ETH. And so then the question is, okay, cool. What do I do next? And so we really wanted to just drop the barrier to entry. We have a service here. Our business is designed to teach people. We have a Overseas DeFi community. You can pay $97 a month and you'll get the full video course. You'll get live calls with me and Roman, every week. You'll get our portfolio tracker. You'll get a Overseas DeFi, bunch of stuff to help you on your journey. But we wanted to make the barrier to entry even lower than that. Maybe somebody doesn't have $97 a month to spend to get educated and to learn how to do this. And so we recently came up with a few different videos, and they're just right here on the channel. So this was just a month ago. This is video number 1, video number 2, and video number 3. This is a different video that I did recently. So somebody could literally spend less than 1 hour, looks like less than 45 minutes, watch those 3 videos, and I'm going to take you through the basic steps of starting your own DeFi portfolio. Now, to your point, it starts with self-custody. So anybody can jump on and create a Coinbase account or a Binance account or whatever centralized exchange and hook up your checking account and buy some crypto. But you can't do anything that we do in DeFi without first taking self-custody. So that's what you're going to learn in this video is once you buy the crypto, let's actually take custody of it. And so you're going to be able to create your own private account on the blockchain. A blockchain is kind of like a spreadsheet in the cloud, right? And everybody has their own account, and you're able to create your own personal account that only you control, only you can spend the coins in that account. Right? People can send coins to your account, but no one can spend your coins but you. It's a private blockchain account. So in that video, I show you how to not only purchase some assets on Coinbase. I used Coinbase because I also wanted to highlight the fee savings that we talked about. So why would anybody do business on a decentralized exchange and pay liquidity providers like me for that service? Well, it's because it's a win-win. They get to save about 99% on their trade fees. And so I talk about that in this video, starting up your Coinbase account, setting up your self-custody wallet, taking custody of your coins into your own account, your own wallet, and then utilizing a decentralized exchange to buy ETH. And to buy, in that video, I showed how to buy tokenized Bitcoin. So that would be a start. It starts with self-custody. Beyond that, we have 2, I would say, golden opportunities in DeFi. These are the biggest, most impressive, most useful opportunities and protocols that we have in DeFi. Number 1 is the decentralized lending and borrowing protocol. Now, in this video, this is all about lending and borrowing in DeFi. This is a foreign concept for most people. Most people are used to going down to a bank, got to do it on a weekday, got to be banker's hours. You go into the bank, you fill out a form, then you wait a couple of weeks while they look at your credit rating and they decide whether or not they're going to take the risk on you and loan you some money, right? And by the way, if you're buying a car, your interest rate these days is probably going to be somewhere around 10%. Maybe you get 7% interest on your mortgage or your home loan. God forbid you have a credit card where you let the balance carry over from month to month. That one's going to charge you something like 30% interest. In DeFi, we have the ability to borrow capital. It's a collateralized loan. So I get into what that actually means in this video. It's a collateralized loan. So you have to have collateral, but you can borrow capital for somewhere between 2 and 4%. Just to show you this live picture of what this looks like. This is a lending and borrowing protocol in DeFi. It's called Aave. This one has been around the longest.
Yep.
And it's the most, battle tested, audited, clean track record, no problems, no hacks, no exploits, none of that. This is the biggest and best lending protocol in all of DeFi. And you can see here I'm borrowing USDC. That's a stable coin, right? Each token is pegged to $1, $1.
Could you just
on that?
Pull up there for a second? Sorry to cut in on you there, Brandon. You're on a roll, mate. But could you just quickly help the audience understand what a stable coin is, mate, before you carry on?
Absolutely.
Because some people on here today probably don't even know what that is. And
so a stable coin.
There's nothing wrong with not knowing.
Absolutely, yeah. And by all means, feel free to interrupt me and rein me in, because I do have a propensity to just go and go and go. I used to do live streams, Rodney, on my channel, and I once did a live stream for 7.5 hours. So, if you don't stop me,
you needed a cold beer after that one, Cobber.
Yeah. So a stable coin, most of the stable coins that we have these days are pegged to the US dollar. So it's a token, like Bitcoin is a token or a coin, and USDC in this case is a token. I can send it from one account to another. I can send it to my centralized crypto exchange account, or I can withdraw it from my account to my wallet. It's a token, it's crypto, but in this case, each single token is worth exactly $1. And there's a company behind this token where it's a regulated US company. So they are regulated, they are forced, they are audited, and they back each and every single one of those tokens by a real US dollar. Okay, so it's a token that doesn't go up and down in value, and it allows you to do things and pay for things, etc., in dollar terms. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense.
Yep.
And
thanks for that, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key takeaway for those watching is look at these interest rates. So I can't touch these rates. This is actually a different asset that I've borrowed. This is the Ethereum coin. So this is the commodity or the gas coin that makes the whole Ethereum ecosystem run. And I'm borrowing this, and I'm currently paying only 1.22% to borrow this capital. So this is the first unlock. Let me give you an example of this, Rodney. This is what we call the DeFi carry trade. Now, I've already lost some of the audience by just saying carry trade. Carry trade is the most popular carry trade, which, by the way, this is really, until DeFi, this is only available to the uber wealthy and the big institutional investors. What the carry trade traditionally is they go to some country like Japan, and they borrow money for like 0.5% per year. And then they take that borrowed money and they invest it in, let's say, US treasuries that are paying 3.5% per year. Okay. And the difference, they're paying a carrying cost of 0.5%, but then that same money, they're now earning 3.5%. So the difference there, the spread, is the profit.
Yep.
So in DeFi, we're able to do what I call the DeFi carry trade, where now not only is it available to everyday normal people like you and me, but the spread it is much more dramatic. And that's where the second opportunity comes in. But to flesh that out, the DeFi carry trade that I preach on our channel and within our community is we want to borrow money at a low rate, so borrow low, and then we take that borrowed money and we invest it or we deploy it into something that earns a much higher yield. So borrow low, earn high. It's like the old day trading mantra. Well, day trading is easy. You just buy low and sell high. Well, it turns out it's really not that easy, and you got to spend a bunch of time behind a computer screen to even do it.
Yeah.
In DeFi, we borrow low. Anybody can do it, right? And just watch those 3 videos. You're going to learn step by step how to do it. Borrow capital low, and then we deploy that borrowed capital. Most of the time, we like to put that into a liquidity position that earns something on the order of 60%, 80%, 120%. I have a position here that I just launched yesterday. So far, this position is earning 174% APR. So imagine borrowing money at 4.2%, taking that borrowed money and putting it into something like this that's earning 100% or maybe even 170%, right? Now, this is going to fluctuate, and this is one of those things where there's definitely risk involved. And I've been doing this 5 years, so, and there's a learning curve to doing this, and the yields are going to vary. They're going to go down, they're going to go up. They're all over the place, and
Yep.
there's things that you have to learn to be able to do this. But that's, in a nutshell, that's the opportunity with our DeFi carry trade. Now, notice this is a collateralized lending and borrowing position. What does that mean? That means I took my coins that I own, I invested in Bitcoin, I invested in ETH, and I took those coins and I posted them as collateral on this protocol. Now, that involves risk as well. It's called smart contract risk. I'm trusting that the smart contract here is going to do what it's been programmed to do, and no hackers are going to figure out how to hack into it and take my coins out of there, which is one of the main reasons we use Aave, because it's been around the longest. It's never been hacked. It's never been exploited. It is completely very well battle tested, right? But I do have to post those coins as collateral, and you can see at the moment I have a little over $100,000 of collateral posted on this. So I've lent my coins to this protocol, to the smart contract. And as soon as I do that, now I'm able to borrow against that collateral.
Okay.
And it has to be, this is not like real estate. It's kind of like real estate, but it's different. If you have a $200,000 house completely paid off, you could probably borrow $180,000 against that collateral. You would still probably have to be a little bit over collateralized depending on your credit rating and all of that. So I guess it's kind of the same thing here. I'm not able to borrow the full 100,000. Yep. At the moment, I have a loan balance of about 65,000. So I'm over collateralized, right? But here's the key. While I'm holding these assets for the long term, I believe Bitcoin is going up. I believe ETH is going up because of that fiat debasement, because of that economy where we're headed, where everything is tokenized and the entire worldwide financial system is on the blockchain, most of that going on the Ethereum blockchain, and not to mention all of the AI agents by the billions and billions that are going to be conducting transactions on these blockchains. right? I believe in that narrative, and that's my investment thesis, and those assets go up. And even though they are posted as collateral, they still belong to me. They're still my assets, and importantly, I still benefit from the price appreciation. So if these assets go up 10%, my collateral, that's my collateral, it just went up 10%, right? So this capital is working for me in the sense that I've invested it into an asset that is going to outperform the dollar over time. At least I'm very confident about that, right? So that money it's working capital. And because I collateralize it here and I borrow against it, I'm unlocking an additional chunk of capital that I can use elsewhere. Now, I told you about credit cards, and I'm sure you have experience with that as well, but they want to charge you 30% on your credit card debt. I've literally borrowed money from this at 4% or so and paid down a credit card. So rather than paying 30%, I'd gladly just pay 4%. So when you borrow money from a collateralized lending protocol like this, that money is yours. You borrow it and it comes to your wallet, and you can off-ramp it and send it to your Coinbase account, convert it to dollars, send it to your checking account, do whatever the heck you want to do with that money. So when we unlock that ability to borrow, for the most part, what we do is we take that extra capital and put it into something like this. Now, this one is only earning about 70% a year. Only, right? This is the more conservative position. And I have a wider range, which is something we could get into as well. But for the most part, I'm going to take that borrowed capital on which I'm paying anywhere from 1% to 5% interest, and I'm going to deploy that borrowed capital into something like this. And so you're doing two things. Number one, you're increasing your velocity. So now, instead of just $100,000 that's working for me, especially if the numbers go up, now I have that, but I also have about $65,000 that's also working for me. So as somebody who has $1,000 and that's all they have in the whole world to invest in DeFi, they can basically turn it into $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, all of which is working for them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's the real power. And the second massive benefit here is, notice now I am literally getting paid to wait for this long-term narrative to play out. So maybe I'm wrong about my two investment theses, but at least I'm getting paid to see if it comes true. I'm generating cash flow
nothing wrong
every
with
day.
Paid.
Nothing wrong with getting paid. So this is, and this kind of opportunity, this is not rocket science, but it's not super simple either. This is not one click and you're done. And there's a learning process that you have to go through. But like anything, it's worth your while to learn a new skill. And I'll tell you, Rodney, most of our members, it's not like they quit their jobs and they just use their DeFi portfolio to pay all their bills. That's what I've been doing for going on 5 years now. But our members are able to generate a little extra income. And so maybe they earn enough in their DeFi portfolio to pay their monthly grocery bill, right? So we have people in our community where they learn this new skill and they set up these DeFi portfolios with our guidance, and they use the cash flow that they're generating every day to pay bills in the real world. And so that's to bring it full circle to my day trading journey and all those companies and books and people that pay thousands of dollars to learn how to trade. And then after spending all that money learning how to trade, they've got less than nothing to show for it. They don't have any profits, and they blew up three day trading accounts to boot. They actually lost money on the whole deal. If somebody pays us to learn how to do this, within a week, they are starting to generate profits, real cash flow from their positions. You're not going to start out with $100,000. I always recommend that people start small, and DeFi is equal opportunity. Everybody has the same opportunity. I don't care if you have $100 or $100,000. The percentages are all the same, no matter who you are and how much money you have. So people can start out with $100, and that's what I demonstrate in these videos. I bought $120 in a demo wallet. I bought $120 of tokenized Bitcoin, and then I deployed a liquidity position with $60. That's fine. So you can start small. You can learn the ropes. And that way, if you make a mistake, right, you're not going to be devastated. If you send the money, if you send $60 to the wrong address or something, or do something wrong, it's not going to be a huge deal. And then just grow with it. Learn the ropes. Go, put in your reps, as they say. Do the transactions. You get more and more comfortable with it, and then you have the support of a community like ours, where there are lots of other members that are doing the same thing. You're chatting, you're watching the videos, we have private Telegram group, we have a private weekly Zoom call, and things like that, where you're going to get the support, you're going to get the help along the way, with the educational part of it.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. That's wicked. Thanks you for sharing that with us. Hopefully, for folks, that's helped you wrap your head around it a bit easier, and you can seriously think about looking into getting on board with Overseas DeFi and Brandon and Roman, and looking into this stuff, so you can start finding another and better way to start making some other income that can help improve your situation in life.
By all means, we'd love to help you. If someone has, if somebody can afford $97 a month and fully go through it, and we're there to support you and educate you and help you through the entire process. But look, I don't care. I'm doing fine with my DeFi portfolio, and this is how I support myself and my family. And that's why I put the videos out there. Like, just watch the video, spend 45 minutes and do me a favor, click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and maybe make a comment. Help our YouTube get a little bit more traction. But there's no reason why you can't spend some time and learn how to do this. And I mean, shoot, people can ask questions in the comments. Also, I do a live stream. I didn't do it this last week because I had something else going on. But I do a live stream, Rodney, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And what I do there is I answer questions in real time. Yep. So if you're trying to go through this, my point is, you don't have to spend any money to learn how to do this. Learn a new skill, spend some time on the YouTube channel, and start putting together some of these pieces. Start small, $100, $50 even. I don't care. If you have an internet connection, you can do this, all of this. And if you get stuck at any point along the way, you can join our community. That would be great. Or if you just want to tune in for the live stream and ask me a question in real time, I'm an educator. I've been teaching for close to 30 years now. Well, more than 30 years now, to be honest. I'm an engineer by training, master's degree in mechanical engineering from Stanford University. But within a year of my career, I decided and I realized I don't want to engineer. I want to help people. And so that's what I've been doing for 25 years in a corporate career, and then transitioned to DeFi. And that's all I do. I just like to answer questions and help educate people, help people understand this technology. And there's not a lot of people doing that. That's why the opportunity is so great. The learning curve is there. I'm not here to tell you it's super easy. It's not super easy. you're going to have to be uncomfortable and learn new things, but it's well worth it to take the time, learn these new skills, especially nowadays, right? I mean, there's more anxiety than ever before nowadays, where people have a fear that, you know, AI is coming for their job. And so it's
and I think it
now
will
more
be
than
for
ever
some.
is the time to learn a new skill. And so I'd really be happy for people to learn this stuff for free, even if you never pay us a single dime.
That's awesome, mate. I really, really tip my hat to you and for doing that, for being a teacher, because we need more people like yourself in the world, Brandon, that are actually real teachers. And real teachers are somebody who's actually doing what they're teaching. You know, they're not just talking the
Yeah.
talk; they're walking the walk as well. And as I really appreciate you doing what you're doing, mate, because this is so different and so out of the box for most people. You know, so, I'm sure half the world still don't even know that this even exists. You know, that have, somehow still haven't even heard about crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of these things. You know, like, so what what you and Roman are doing, mate, is just really awesome. Um, we're running up on time, mate. So
Yeah.
maybe a couple of real quick ones that you could rattle off some fast answers to. Risk
Sure.
management, mate. It's a big one in anything that we do in life,
Hmm.
and you should be looking at first and foremost. When people hear earn and yield in crypto, they often think high risk or scams. How do you approach risk management and protection first and foremost, mate? Just quickly.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the key things in crypto is, well, there's a lot. So first of all, when you talk about self custody, and I'm really glad you asked this, because I try to get this message out each and every time I'm on YouTube, and sometimes I forget. When you do self custody in crypto, there's a, basically think of it as your master secret code. And in crypto, it's called a seed phrase. And that's a mnemonic phrase. Just think of it as a master key to all of your crypto. And so when you first get involved in crypto, and you're doing it, crypto was designed for self custody. That's like kind of the main point, is that here's an asset that you can own and control, and no one else can take it from you. But when you do self custody, you're going to set up your private wallet, and the main part of that process is your seed phrase. So you're going to get a secret code that's only for you, and your all of your wallets, all of your crypto will all boil down to that one seed phrase. So unfortunately, there are scammers out there that will try to extract that seed phrase from you. The good news is it's very easy to protect yourself. You just never give your seed phrase to anyone or anything. One of the more sophisticated attacks that's happening these days is they will get you to think that they're calling you or they're emailing you from Coinbase or Ledger or some company. And even those official companies, they have no legitimate reason to get your seed phrase. So the common scam is, you think you're talking to somebody from Coinbase, and they say, well, just, they email you this link. It looks like an official Coinbase email, and you click on the link and it takes you to a website. It looks perfect. It looks just like a Coinbase website. And then what the site wants you to do is enter that seed phrase. So typically it's 12 words. Sometimes it's a 24-word seed phrase. The point is, you got to keep that seed phrase to yourself. Don't give it to somebody. Don't enter it into a website. Don't enter it into an app. Don't even have it as a digital copy. There have been people who took a digital picture of their seed phrase, or maybe they had it in a password protected file on their computer. That's a no as well. So you want a hard copy of your seed phrase, and just never give it away. It's easy, but you'd be surprised at the amount of people that have been fooled. gave up their seed phrase and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of crypto. As soon as somebody has that phrase, they're going to just take all of your crypto. They own it at that point because the seeds phrase is the ownership. So I would say that's the number one thing in terms of mitigating risk. That's not just a partial loss of your money. That's a total loss if you give up that seed phrase. So that's definitely a no-no. Along the same lines, when you get into this and you start using these different protocols, it's very important that you're using the official website of that protocol. And so this is a simple one as well. The wallets that we use, one of the main wallets that we use, it's an app. It's called Rabby, and I talk about it in that video. It has a directory. So you can click on the search directory, and that's going to bring you up a Rabby website where you can search for your different crypto and DeFi protocols, and you're going to get the official website. Do not do a Google search, okay? Don't do a Google search because, believe it or not, the scammers will actually pay Google to have their scam website show up at the top of the list. You click on that. I had a client that actually did that. He was in a hurry. He did a Google search. He clicked on the link, and he lost $1,000 of ETH because it was a scam website. It looked just like the real thing. So those are the big ones where you can lose lots of money very quickly, including your entire portfolio. So, if you give up that seed phrase.
In saying that, Brandon, how would you get into Rabby then without doing a Google search to find it? What's the most direct route to it? Just typing that in itself?
rabby.io.
Okay.
And once you have that, and I talk about that in the videos as well. Another good way, like once you have Rabby and these other wallet apps have similar search functions where you can look up the correct URLs for the different protocols. But prior to that, one thing you can kind of do is look them up on Twitter or on X. So if you're not sure how to even get started, you can follow the official, account on X or Twitter. And that would be a way to get the correct URL as well. But yeah, I get you started in that video going to rabby.io. From there, once you have that app, you're able to do the searching and the search dApps in the directory. Other than those are the two big ones. Other than that, I talked about the smart contract risk associated with like a decentralized lending and borrowing protocol. It's not possible to completely eliminate those risks. We do the best that we can to mitigate those risks in terms of using the most well-established, most audited, most battle-tested protocols. So the majority of us in our community, we're using Aave for our lending and borrowing. That's been around the longest. Like I said, been around since the beginning of DeFi, really. Never been hacked, never been exploited, fully audited, fully battle-tested. For our decentralized exchanges, we're using Uniswap. Uniswap literally invented the concept of a decentralized exchange and a liquidity pool. So we just go with the sort of the name brand protocols and players in crypto and DeFi. And then we're not chasing the latest meme coins or the latest tokens. So we stick with the main coins. Bitcoin, been around. That's the original. ETH, that's the second crypto asset ever to be invented. Those are our main portfolio allocations, I would say. There are newer layer one blockchains that have come up that are very exciting, very promising, not quite so well battle tested, still in their infancy. But the further you go out on those kinds of coins, there's more risk, but there's also more opportunity as well as those. If the technology is solid, and Sui is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, and if the utility is there, it's just a matter of time. We're headed towards this economic situation where everything is on chain. All assets tokenized on chain. All data. Think about AI. What does AI consume? Tokens. What's a token? It's a digital representation of something of value. Maybe it's data. Maybe it's a piece of money. Maybe it's a piece of real estate. Maybe it's some other kind of asset, right? All of these tokens, it's not just Bitcoin and ETH and Fartcoin, like you said earlier. We're headed towards a world where everything is a token and everything is riding around on blockchain rails, like the entire global system, certainly the financial system, but it goes beyond that, right? So the adoption is coming. And if it's a solid layer one blockchain with real utility and real promise, I can't guarantee anything, but I feel very highly convicted that these layer one blockchains, certainly Ethereum, Sui, even Solana, will massively grow in the future. So those are the kind of assets that we go after. Nothing flashy. You're never going to hear about somebody getting a 10x right in our community. Maybe over the course of 3 years, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a 10x. I certainly think that's possible, but none of these, hey, I'm going to do 50x leverage and I'm going to try to make $1 million overnight. That is, you couldn't get further from that in our community and everything that we talk about and structure our portfolios with.
That's awesome, mate. That's awesome. Really appreciate you sharing that there to try and put people's hearts at ease a little bit and understand how you go about risk management, And ultimately, it just brings me back to the fact that the most important thing is education. Get yourself education, because sadly, we all go through what's called the so-called education system early in our life, which is not an education system by any means. It's just a very, very sad state of affairs, that is. And people like yourself are sharing the education, mate, and it's so vitally important. For me, we're just about up on time, mate. So for me, I'm a big believer in hard assets. Before we hit record today, we were talking about things like gold and silver, tangible hard assets, real estate, things like that. So in this digital world that we're porting into more and more every day, I think it's a hard one for me, and I think it's probably a hard one for a lot of other people trying to wrap their heads around the tangibility of it being a hard, tangible asset. I am in the digital space, and I have great hope and belief in it to get us away from the terrible centralized central banking system fiat currency system that runs our world.
Absolutely.
I myself personally believe in gold and silver. It's been around for over 5,000 years. I believe it'll be around for at least that much longer too. Something that's interesting news for me that you talked about stablecoins, USDC and USDT is the other one that's out there, the two of the biggest ones that I believe that are around. And USDT is Tether, known as Tether, and from my research and self-education, they have been buying a tremendous amount of gold to actually backstop and support their stablecoin. So that for me, puts a real tangible, real world asset behind it as well. So that to me gives a lot of faith into something like that. That it's not just backed by a fiat currency like the US dollar or the euro or anything like that. So that aspect of it, I like.
There's actually fairly recently, I think it was in March, there is a new tokenized silver product as well, where the each and every token is backed by real physical silver, in vaults, and it's a Singapore company, I believe, but they've been in business for a number of years. They've had a tokenized gold product for even long, I think about a year and a half, but it was just in March they came out with tokenized silver. So those kinds of things are available in crypto as well. And it is a little bit strange to talk about things of value being in the digital realm as opposed to something that you can physically touch and hold in your hand. And I'm a fan of physical silver and gold, as you know, as well. And I've been holding that for quite a while now, since I went down that rabbit hole in 2013 and realized how tremendously awful the debt-based fiat currency system really is. Uh, but but also, I think more and more, especially these days, people can start to wrap their head around the idea that there is value in the digital realm. I mean, information has value, and just, you can't reach out and touch it, but it is valuable. And more and more, we're headed towards this digitized economy. Again, I hate to be a broken record, but again, with the agentic situation that's coming as well, where you have all of these AI agents that are doing things and managing things that are of real value. I think it becomes more and more important to understand digital value, and there's a really unique opportunity for all of us right now to actually own a piece of the infrastructure. It's something that hasn't been available for humans. We had the whole internet revolution, and you could buy certain companies, you could buy stocks of companies that were participating in this internet information revolution that was going on, but you weren't able to buy a piece of the internet. You couldn't buy TCP/IP or I forget, HTML. You couldn't buy the internet itself. In blockchain, you can literally buy a piece of the plumbing. You can buy a piece of the infrastructure upon which this new economy will run. It's already starting to run on digital, on blockchain rails, and it's just going to keep growing. So it's a really unique opportunity, and we try to make it as easy as possible, and try to create opportunities for people to get paid while they wait, while they jump on this train and make some money while you're waiting for it to reach the destination. Whatever that is for you.
That's beautiful, Brandon. That's beautiful, mate. Mate, there's a lot more questions that I would have liked to have got in today, but we're just running up on time, big time. So I really hope that I can have you back on again in the future sometime, and maybe even Roman might be able to come on with you as well. But and so
Sure.
we can dig into this a bit more, mate, and keep educating people around this, and because this is where the world is heading. The world will still always have tangible assets in it, and that because we live in a tangible real world. That's all there is to it. But digital is a big part of it. So I
Absolutely.
hope I
Well,
can have you
I
back on and we can
definitely,
dig into this more.
absolutely. I'd be happy to come and chat with you again. As you could probably tell, I do like to talk about this stuff, so
You're passionate
I'd be
about it,
happy
mate.
to
That's
come
good.
on
I'm passionate about
and
it too.
chat. I'd be happy to come and chat again, and again, I really appreciate the opportunity, to be on your platform and for helping us to get the word out. It's all about education, and this is just such a small world. So I really appreciate you helping us to kind of grow this and make more people aware of the opportunities. And there's a better system out there. Crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these hard assets are much better for humankind. The debt-based fiat currencies are absolutely horrible for humanity. I'm sure you're familiar with some of the things that Saifedean Ammous talks about, and the time
Yeah.
preference and all of that. We're really suffering as a species, thanks to this crappy system that we have to live within. So I appreciate the opportunity to get the word out and help people understand there's a better way.
Yeah, it's time to change. It needs to change, and it's time to change. And thankfully, there is a change happening. So, all right, legends. What a cracking conversation there today with Brandon. Hey, that's been really, really educational and really enlightening. Hey, Brandon brought some seriously valuable insights into crypto and decentralized finance, what it actually looks like, and what it takes. Some more depth. There's a lot more to it, I would strongly suggest that you get on and start educating yourself, watching some of them videos that these fellas have put some hard work into producing for us to be able to get the education around it. So before we finish up today, Brandon, can you let everybody know where they can find you and the best place to do that? I know you've shared some, but yeah, reiterate, mate, please.
Yeah, so the name of our company is Overseas DeFi. At the time when Roman and I got together, he was living and working in Thailand, and I was living in Puerto Rico. So we call it Overseas DeFi. So on YouTube, it's simply Overseas DeFi, and the website is overseasdefi.com. DeFi is DEFI. Yeah. If you speak that into your phone speech to text, it'll say DeFi, DEFY. So that's wrong. So yeah, it's just overseasdefi.com. And like I said, the YouTube channel, I would love if people could, support the channel, give us a like and a subscription, and turn on notifications and leave a comment and all those good YouTube things that would help us get the message out. So appreciate it.
That's awesome, mate. Awesome. Thank you for coming on today, and I look forward to the next time we can have you back on again. All right, folks, you know what to do, eh? Hit the like button, follow the show, share it with fellow money stackers and crypto DeFi stackers around the world, mate, and keep fighting for truth, freedom, and building a legacy for your family and future generations, because that's what we need to do overall. And just keep on stacking, eh? Keep on stacking. All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Yep, thank you.
This has been another episode of The Rodney Bull Show, a Rebel Edge production. Please share with your family and friends, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review.